I got stuff to do. Mm-hmm. Okay. You like my little candle? My little candle. What a boss. Hell yeah. Hell yes. Oh my god. Continue was not lighting up. I was like, did I lose my save? Woo! Oh god. Okay. Let's go here. Oh, there's nothing here. Okay. Well. Study anomalies, interact with other ships to switch map to the entire button at the bottom right corner. Wait, where? That's not. Click the button at the bottom right corner of the screen. What bottom right corner? I don't have a button in the bottom right corner. Nani? Okay, let's go here. It's pandemonium outside the bridge gate. One of the officers seems to be demanding an audience in person. What? What is this? This is not the conduct of an officer. These are the antics of a highborn brat out on a lark. Explain yourself, Lieutenant. Avrilla Vent. I apologize, sir, but I must speak with the Lord Captain. Very well, Lieutenant. You may address the Lord Captain, not because I see you already have seen fit to disturb him. Your unauthorized appearance on the bridge as a display of belligerence towards a higher-ranking officer will be logged in your personal file without delay. Lord Captain, Lieutenant Avrilla Vent, requesting permission to speak on a matter of extreme importance and urgency. You may speak, but I want to hear a report, not a shouting match. Having two officers bickering in full view of the bridge is unacceptable. I'm sorry, Lord Captain. I thought the drastic times called for drastic measures. This matter cannot wait. Any minute now, an assault unit will be dispatched by the lower decks on orders to crush a workers' strike by any means necessary, but I'm convinced this step is unwarranted and the crisis itself was provoked by the actions of one of our senior officers. I urge you to investigate the actions of Seneschal Worsurian and to intervene in what happens in the lower decks, because very soon we'll have a mutiny or a massacre on our hands. How did all this start? The situation could boil over at any minute, so I'll give you the condensed version. It all began when the enforcers found a cultist amulet on the body of someone who had been killed in a drunken brawl. We reported it up the chain, immediately arranged for a cleansing rite to be performed and opened an investigation. No heretics have been found alive. The search has brought tensions between the enforcers and workers to a head. There's an insurrection in the making on my ship and no one has informed me? I would not deem it a problem worthy of the rogue trader's attention. The lower decks, as it happens, are in revolt. 30-some years ago, we even had a revolutionary leader rise up who dared to reestablish workers' rule across the entire ship. It took months to restore order, but even 8 years later, we were still battling rumors that the hero had survived the execution and was on the verge of gathering people to fight against tyranny once more. Needless to say, the rumors were baseless. As for the current situation, we have sufficient enforcers to deal with it. But on this ship, the word of the Lord Captain carries more weight than a salvo from 100 bolters. Okay. Where does the Seneschal Worsurian come into all this? I shall explain. I will not hurry, since my competence is under scrutiny. I shall speak for as long as I see fit. There's an established order to the way things are done on this ship, and one of the pillars of that system is the rogue trader's attention is not distracted by trivial matters. It is the Seneschal's role to ensure that. I've always handled internal problems myself, so of course that's when I received the information about the cultist hiding in the lower decks, I took matters in hand. So long as I live, not one of the vermin who murdered Theodore Van Valancius will find refuge on her ship. You were far too heavy-handed, Seneschal Worsurian. Arrests, interrogation, mass punishments for entire sectors. It has driven the people to the brink. Now there's a strike on the lower decks, in Depot 4 to be precise. The worker clans are involved, but many more are passively supporting them. The situation could degenerate into an all-out insurrection. But when I reported my concerns, the only response I received was an order to dispatch an assault unit and crush the strike with maximum force. What do you have to say about all this, Abelard? I see no need to add anything. I acted within the remit of my authority, guided exclusively by the best interest of your protectorate and your personal safety. Okay. What is Depot 4? It's one of the poorest sectors in the lower deck. It is home to the clans of general laborers. Okay. Karom, I was going to try to catch up to where I was earlier because I went back and forth a little bit, but this just kind of popped up and I have to do it. I am certain the Seneschal was acting within his authority, but I will verify the soundness of his decisions myself. An enterprise bordering on the sophomoric, but please yourself, Lord Captain. I will categorically insist that I escort you. Oh, is this going to be a fight? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Abelard reflectively wipes the sweat of his brow in a startlingly human gesture, and a telling one. A rare moment where he allows his age and weariness to show through his armor-like veneer of self-assurance. The lower decks are a source of endless problems. Sometimes I dearly regret that we cannot replace all the locals with servitors. Let's keep moving. We need to get to the bottom of this. Ooh. Wow.
Sometimes you consult the appropriate treaties on Tactica Imperialis and weigh every step.
Is there money to be made?
Sometimes, though, you just fire your biggest cannon and save the day.
Oh. Yep. Lower deck rabble. I like it. Oh. What's that, chat? The sound of a heated discussion reverberates through the ship bays. Lieutenant Arvel Event of the ship's enforcer is barring the path of a heavily built assault unit officer. I have my orders to put an end to the unrest and purge this sector. You can take your orders and shove them. This is my deck and my sector. There are 3 people who can waltz in here without my express permission. The first officer, the rogue trader, and the Emperor himself. So not all of my lessons fall on deaf ears. Your lordship, what's the situation? My people have locked down the bay where the strikers are, including their leaders. We have the situation under control as far as resources allow. I want to speak to the strikers.
I always have a backup plan.
A dozen pair of eyes stare apprehensively at you. The people before you are typical inhabitants of the lower decks. You take in their simple clothing, crude weapons, and faces display varying levels of mutation, from the barely discernible to the strange to the outright grotesque. Rivet. A whisper passes through the crowd, and you detect a mixture of fear, astonishment, and joy in the reactions. Finally, 3 people break away from the crowd, an elderly woman and 2 men. These must be the leaders. They bow clumsily before you. Lord Captain, you have come down to us. Tell me what is troubling you. Why are you striking? Striking? That's news to us, your lordship. All we're doing is asking questions and saying what we think. Oh, okay. Old woman, shut up, Rivet. Here's the deal, your lordship. Your damned enforcers are all over us down here. They say they're looking for cultists. One wrong word and they're reaching for their batons. If they want to punish someone, they turn off the heating to the whole bay for a week at a time. So we get sick and freeze. In my clan, 2 little ones died from inflammation in their lungs, all because of those enforcers. It's all true. Vent is the only enforcer officer who stood up for us. As clear as day, who had a mother from the lower decks and grew up amidship, has no feelings towards us. Your lordship, we're no villains here. We're honest workers or servants. We plotted no disorder. We went on to strike openly, and now we've got guns pointed at us. All we're doing is asking to be allowed to work in peace without being harassed. The persecution started apropos of nothing, you say? I was told that one of you was found in possession of a cultist amulet. Cultist amulet, what's that? The gewgaw they found on the dead drunkard? If that was something evil or forbidden, we sure didn't know it. The enforcers just said they were looking for heretics among us, and anyone obstructing their investigation will be punished. How could there be heretics here? We know our own people. There have been no new faces around. Definitely not, and if there were, we'd be the first to report them. Those boots are really fine, and there was no harm in taking them, right? As for the amulet, it must have been pocketed by someone who didn't know any better. We don't need any amulets around here. We all worship the Emperor. And when we're working, we bow down before the machine spirit of the large and small transformers and the servo motor. Okay. Naive children, weren't you taught from an early age about the dangers of the arch enemy's creations? Weren't you warned that any unfamiliar object could be one of them? We were told, Holy Sister, but it was long ago. The last time we saw a confessor in our sector was just after I'd had my 3rd little one. This is regrettable, but you cannot lay the burden of leading a righteous life on the shoulders of the Holy Fathers. Who will you blame when a beast crawls out of those amulets you stole from the heretics? The Holy Father who was not there, or the scavenger who brought evil down upon himself and his neighbors? Do you have anything to add, Abelard? I authorize the use of all necessary measures to locate Chaos worshippers hiding in this sector. The specific steps taken by the officer were not reported to me. Nevertheless, I'm certain that their actions were justified. Cultists are no drunken stevedores. What changes do you want? Would you look at this? The exalted Lord Captain himself asking us bilge rats what we want. Well, here's what. We want you to rein in your damned enforcers, to quit turning off the heat and stop battering everything that moves. No, that's not it. We want the enforcers gone from here. We want to be armed. Absolutely not. No. We're not going to arm you. You've gone too far, old man. They'll never let the maggots in the lower decks live without enforcers breathing down their neck. They probably even insist on enforcers on the upper deck, too. As for weapons, what do we need them for? Before the first day out, we'll have somebody shooting their neighbor out of stupidity or drunkenness. Yep. Yep. You speak for yourself and your clan, and I'll speak for me and mine. Coercion 40. Spreading anarchy on the ship is the first step towards embracing chaos. Putting weapons in untrained hands would be even worse. What's more, the enforcers are needed to maintain oversight and order. Withdraw those demands, we would consider the rest. Old man, listen. Lord Captain himself has come down to us and is offering concessions, and I don't know a single person the whole Depot 4 has ever stood next to the rogue trader, let alone talked to them. Back down. Now's not the time to be a stubborn old crone. Listen to us, Nan. The three clans on deck Depot 4 should act as one. We've made our minds. It's up to you to decide. Don't ask them to disband the enforcer to give us weapons. We don't need any of that. You two are ganging up on me. Is that it? So brave you are against an old woman. But I'll shut up. I will indeed. Okay. Thoughts, Abelard? The story about scavenging for boots and accidentally picking up a heretical amulet doesn't convince me. These people were moments away from rebelling and possibly becoming minions of the arch enemy. We must not give them what they want. In the Second War, there was a sergeant in the Imperial Guard regiment that was stationed nearby. The sergeant took an ordinary pocket knife from the body of a heretic, and his whole unit lost their lives for it. When they finally managed to break into the barracks, they found not a single survivor, only the pocket knife. which had grown through all the rows of the beds like a metal-choking vine. So when it comes to scavengers, malcontents, strikers, or whatever they'll turn into next, my verdict is simple. Give them no quarter. Okay. The persecution will stop. Alright. Wow. Abelard is pissed. Oh well. Pork Johnson, first channel I've ever subbed to for 9 years. Thanks for the years of entertainment and good vibes. Cheers to many more. Thank you, bud. I think we'll be back down here. We didn't use these valves or anything. Yoink.
I always keep my options open. Let us not dawdle.
That's not dawdle, chat. I have an urgent matter to discuss with the Lord Captain. Please give us a moment. Are you pleased with your investigation, Lord Captain? You kowtowed to the disloyal rabble. You believed their lies and showed them leniency. Next time the ship is attacked by cultists, the rabble will welcome them with open arms and allow them to wreak whatever havoc they like because they see you as a weak leader. Is that how you see the future at the helm of the Von Valancia's Protectorate? Let's talk about your role in all this instead. You allowed this revolt to happen. Your actions practically guaranteed it would. I would have handled the situation myself had you not decided to intervene. Remember Lord Captain Theodora. Do you think she ever set one slippered foot on the lower decks? No, she did not. Such matters were left to myself and the junior officers while she dedicated herself to her grand design for the Protectorate, as any true strategist and rogue trader ought. Maybe if Theodora had spent more time on trifling matters, she wouldn't have wound up dead. There's a new Lord Captain aboard this ship, and I will not repeat her mistake. I commend your decisiveness, but I am uncomfortable with introducing new protocols in the midst of a crisis. And I lost my temper, Lord Captain, and I believe I had to explain myself. Prosperity of the Von Valancia's Protectorate is not just an empty phrase to me. I left the Imperial Navy for a chance to see it flourish. It was the most momentous decision of my life. I did it because I saw in the Lord Captain Theodora's deeds and signs the true greatness. Rogue traders do not simply forge new routes and capture worlds. They create order out of anarchy. That creative impulse was entirely lacking during my time in the military. So I left behind everything I had known, everything my family had known, to come from a long line of officers, and I embarked upon this incredibly reckless venture. Lord Captain Theodora entrusted me with all the concerns she had no time for. We would go off on her flagship for long periods to distant frontiers, on scouting voyages, and the advancement of the entire Protectorate rested on my shoulders. Then suddenly, everything that had been built over the years and years began to quake, rattling like a flimsy hangar on a seismically active world. One of the senior officers betrayed us all. The rogue trader was killed, and who knows what is happening on the planets. I tell you this honestly without fear of appearing weak. All this has come to as a grievous blow to me. I'm not panicking or grieving because I cannot allow myself to panic or grieve. I am duty-bound to aid the new rogue trader, to aid you to find your footing as quickly as possible, and to do that I must insulate you from problems that in the past have been dealt with by tried and tested procedures set out of the ship's regulations. Procedures that were established long ago and have functioned smoothly for decades cannot suddenly be deemed excessive or excess to requirements. I understand, but you need to learn how to respect me as your Lord Captain and Rogue Trader. Accept it and start living in the new world, a world where Theodora is gone and where you and I have new decisions to make. Yes, Lord Captain, your resolve is admirable and demonstrates strong leadership. I shall remember this moment should my old habits ever begin to creep back in. Damn. Okay. Man, how interesting. How interesting. Thanks, Ray. I saw that. Oh, we leveled again? Oh. feel like we're leveling fast. Okay. Okay. Oh, we get our ability. Get back in the fight. The officer encourages an ally who's immediately recovers from burning, bleeding, toxin, and stun. Air of authority. The officer increases an ally's resolve by 2 plus resolve divided by 2 until the end of combat. Move, move, move. You know what? Oh, man, it'd be so much work at this point. I think that Owlcat needs to redo this. So what they've done is in all of these tooltips, they have if the target is under the effect of the voice of command, they also gain plus 2x officer's WP bonus temporary wounds. It shouldn't say that. It should say plus whatever the number is in gold, and then if you mouse over that number, it gives you a pop-up with 2x officer's WP bonus. Like all of these tooltips should show the actual numbers, not the equations. Like right here, the officer increases an ally's resolve by a blank, blank, blank to the end of combat. It should be the officer increases an ally's resolve by number until the end of combat. And you mouse over that and it gives you the equation. Huh. Okay. Move, move, move. Additional movement points equal to fell bonus. Break their ranks. All melee attacks made by the target deal an additional damage equal to... Take aim. Target's next attack will ignore cover and will have double the effective distance. Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Now, unfortunately here, we can't get the thing that we wanted to get, which was focus or whatever, but... oh man, I gotta... let's see. Yeah, we would want to get... this is level 7. So we would want... okay, we can get you do something. If a noble uses an ability on their servant, the servant gains +1 AP next turn. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, that's great. Okay. Awesome. Awesome. You, do something. What a great skill. What a great skill name. Why is this locked? Oh, that sucks. Do agility, sure. And her weapon is going to be probably bolt weapon expert. 10% armor pen. Yeah, we'll take that. Great. This is our girl, Adira. We'll do... Ooh, ooh. We got all sorts of fun stuff here. Oh, she doesn't really use... She doesn't use any gun stuff, so don't need to worry about that. No. She's like a straight caster. Foreboding. All allies within the area gain a bunch of dodge percent. Okay. The target gains... okay, a bunch of stats. Target must pass a willpower resistance test, or at their next turn, they will spend all their movement points to move as close as possible towards the Psyker. Okay. If the target makes a willpower resistance check. If it succeeds, the target is merely blinded until the start of the Psyker's next turn. If the target fails, they become blinded and suffer a big penalty to all of their characteristics. Okay. Interesting. Ooh, there's a bunch more spells, but what is biomancy? Oh, I can learn biomancy. Yeah, it's sensory deprivation. That's a good one. And then pump up her awareness. Okay. And then for this bro, our boy Abelard, he gets a characteristic, toughness. We're gonna get his toughness up. And then enemies gain no melee superiority bonus against this player. Any target surrounded by more allies than enemies receives a +10 weapon skill bonus for each additional ally. Oh, so the enemies get that too. Okay, that's why that's so good. I do kind of want to pump up his brace for impact, though. I don't want to get perfect timing. But he doesn't use a ranged weapon. Yeah, we'll keep him. That's going to prevent him from getting damage more, so we'll go ahead and stick with that. Cool. Okay.